Good evening and welcome to another video by the Artful Coder in the Power BI series. So in previous videos we set Power BI report server up. We had a look at it, how it all sits together, created it on a subdomain or on a fictitious domain. But to keep things simple, and there is caveats as to why you need to do certain things in a certain way. So this is very simple. It's authenticated to me, and in previous videos we set up some various views, and we can join that information in. And just to summarize a join key that I created, if I'm on the right file, is we just create this composite key of year number and start month num. Again, there may be various ways in which you want to join it, and then we've got this here, so let's have a look at that. That's just listed, there you go. But we want to say, well, what about if we wanted to start joining this into a calendar? So we can do that. We've got the release date. We can just say format that as something or other, and we can do it basically. So we take the release date, and if we check the data type, it is a date, so that's fantastic. So what we're going to do is reduce it quickly with this. So let's start up let's create a new view. Let's do new SQL. Let's do create view. Always prefix your views, v SRS, and let's just call it all games list as select, and I just want to grab that there and take that. There you go. From that, not anything that, we'll just call it GL for games list and do gl.star, and then we do concat lnk just there, and we want GL, and we want format GL dot. Okay, why is that not coming up? Format GL. Let's go have a look. Okay. Release date, comma, and do that as join key. Let's just check that runs, and it's going to do the correct sequence. Let's have a look. There you go. So what we've got in our calendar and our games list now is a join key. And if you've got a static table, you might need to create a view to do that. So let's just create that view. So there you go. Right, so, and what we're going to want is we've got a list of years here, which is fantastic, but we have a calendar, so we're not going to worry too much about that. So, that's just some prep work done out of the way, so then we can focus on the next stages of this. Now, what you're going to want to do is download Power BI Desktop. It's a free application that you can download from Microsoft, and it's completely free. You get 3 different files. You can download the server, the actual Power BI desktop, in 32 and 64 bits. So let's just do this is what you get. So you've got a blank report, you can get data. Just what's good about Power BI, you can get data from multiple sources without the need to configure anything on SSRS and all of that. So let's just do a blank report. Okay, so this is what you're going to be welcomed with. So if you're not familiar with Power BI, let's rename that to rename games report. Okay. So from here, you can get data from wherever you want to. If you click get data, you've got a whole host SharePoint, Access database, yada, yada, yada. So there's plenty of places you can get information from effectively. But the first thing we want to do as well is we're going to make sure that we get it from here, and we're going to create a brand new account just to do this. So always create accounts of what you're going to use it for. So we have a sample data link. Let's create a new one. Let's call this new login. Let's call this Power BI. And I want to use that. And what I'm going to do is go to random password generator. Password generator, there you go. Let's just use this. I like this one. And we just click generate v2. There you go. So let's just have that one. And this is a password. So what I'm going to do is do notepad. Yep, so that's fine. So I'm just going to paste it into a notepad out of the way and do that. So let's go back to SQL Server. Let's give it a password of that and that. We don't enforce that. And it doesn't really have any server roles. Yes, there's lots here you can give it. And let's just go to our sample data and give it data reader. That's all it needs. Does not need anything more than that. Yes, if you were to get really granular, you could take that out and you can grant rights to specific views, etc. So let's just click OK. And let's go back here, check it's been created. And let's go SQL Server Database Connect. So let's go to 00kev. And database is sample, remember, DataDB. DataDB. Now you have a couple of options here, direct query or import. So what import means is Power BI creates its own version of the data you're pulling back in a cached format, which is good, but then you have to configure reload schedules on Power BI server, which isn't that hard to do. You just set some settings up and it'll refresh the data periodically. Or direct query means that you'll be querying when you view Power BI report, it will just do a real-time query to your database. Now, it might be better to cache your data. The reason I say this, or sorry, import it or cache it, because if you're setting this up in a high user environment, it only reads the data from the database once and stores it within the document in the Power BI document. So what you don't want to do is have lots of database queries, and if you have these hooked up to your core database server, you don't want that because it causes lots of problems. So let's just do import. It's going to think about it. There you go. Use alternative credentials, Power BI, and do that connect. And you have to use database. I do apologise about that. So Power BI. That's because I've been setting this setting for work up in this, but there you go. You can do that. Do connect. Yep, this always comes up. If it's not an encrypted connection, then it will throw some. Just click OK. It's going to try and connect, so it's going to go off to SQL. And this is all what we have in there. So let's just bring this up. Let's just bring and you do have to, it previews the data for you. So what we want to do is click those two there, click load. Okay, it's going to load in, and it may try to create the keys in the format that it will try. What Power BI does, like some other platforms, if you go look at your model, so it's imported the data, there is no join key association. So if this is the calendar, we can then start to play with relationships. So if you wanted to eventually have a relational Power BI model, you can simply click the column, drag it to that one. It says that's what it is, and click save. There you go. So the calendar is now joined to the list of all games. So that is, you could have other things in there as well. You might have publishers. Because what you want to do is you keep your data normalized as opposed to denormalized. That makes it more efficient on your database, and it's better because it makes it a lot more smoother and quicker to pull the data back. So we've got, yes, it's going to warn us about this, and yeah, so you can change it to many or however you want to do it. So it may be that one calendar row is equal to one there. So play about with your relationship. So you can always go into here, choose which way you want it. From full games list to there is a many to one. Let's change it because on quite honestly, okay. Okay, yeah, it's not liking that. Yeah. That is because we have our week numbers in there as well, which this is why it's caused a duplicate because we've got weeks in our calendars and this will just join that. So let's just cancel that. We'll leave as it is for now. But yeah, if your calendar is based on, it doesn't like duplicate keys, so we can see within our calendar, we may have several where it all joins up together. So we may have a lot of that. So my best answer is to say, well, work out what you're keying your data on. Is it week? Do you then start doing weeks? We'll just say month and year for now. So then you can also go into your tables. You can do certain things here. So what you're going to want to do is we don't want to change any of that. We've got a join key. So you can do all sorts of things like add measures, add columns. So the way to think about a column is something you might add together. You could do this join key as a brand new column by using concatenate. You can also do sums and ifs and blank. But we've got our simple data in there. So we've got two cubes, a calendar, and what you're going to want to do, let's just have a look at something. So let's create, what's the best? Let's add a text box. Bring that up there and we'll just call it Games Report. Okay, let's give it a bit of a better title and let's change the colour to something like that. And that is pretty much our mods. Let's save it as well. Let's do File, Save As, Browse. Yes, you can search Power BI. Let's go to Documents and save it in Power BI Desktop. Call it. Okay, and always give it a code. So GR1, and we'll call this Games Report. Okay, so save that. There you go. It's going to save it. So what do we want to do next? Well, we know we've got a calendar. Let's just come out of Doctor Query for a minute. We know we've got a calendar. So what about if we were to say we wanted the years in there? So we've got year number. So let's go back. What you want to do is you want to create a slicer. And what this does is, let's see if I can remember how to do this without on the spot. Let's put start year num in there. There you go. So you can go from there to there all the way up to there. Or the other way to do it is create a slider. So if we come down here, we might be able to do slicer settings. Let's do slider heading values. Let's turn the slider off. That's done from there to there. So let's just leave that a second. Properties. Yeah, so you've got all of this bit here. You can play about with it to your heart's content. But what we'll do, we'll stick with a simple, but there's different options. So when you play about, look at how you want this to be. There is so many options with Power BI. So effects, shadow, all that sort of thing. So let's just delete that and we'll go with a good old fashioned, keep it simple. Yes, you'll want to use slicers if it's a range of values, but it can just be a simple table. So let's do year num in there, and it will automatically try to sum it up. So don't summarise. There you go. You've got a filter list of years, and would it basically allow to do that? Yeah, you've got different things in here, so keep playing about with that. Okay. Yeah, so, and you can also rename this as, let's click the visual. You can right click rename if you don't like that and say year. Do that. There you go. So we've now got a year filter. Let's just bring that down so we can see it. And you can have charts, etc. So if you're doing a matrix is like why you're grouping on different things vertically and horizontally. Let's have a simple table. And let's bring this into here. Now, let's go look at the full games list. So we want the console, we want developer, genre, how many sales, number of sales, and it's going to try and, yeah, this is right. So if we bring this out, there you go. So that's our table, and let's just give it, for argument's sake, release date. Now, what this will do is it will try and break it down. You don't want that. Or you may do. See, what you can do is you can do release date and you can format it. So, release date is our key. So, let's just rename this to make it so date of release. And let's call this rename JP sales. And these are sort of things you pick up over the years when you do things. So, console, and then what you can do, you see, is if I click on here, so we did have some games released into, and that's because what this is doing is it's linking the calendar in. So we can go one more. Let's bring that up there. And let's just add a new table, new filter. What we're going to do is we're going to go into start month, because that's what we're creating our thing on. And I don't want to summarize, so I'm going to click that down so don't summarize. Let's change that. Let's say start month name because it makes a bit more sense than numbers. Or you could do concatenation. See, that might be a good one we could do. Let's do it quickly. Let's just try and let's come out of here. So you click up your data set, do new column, and this is going to be start month disp text equals concatenate. And it's going to ask you data set now. So what you're going to say is you're going to say, oh, I do apologise. Make sure you select the right data set when you're doing it. So down in here, let's go back a bit. I was going to put it in that one. So do new column, do start month num and name equals concatenate. I'm going to say v. We kind of want month name number. So here's what we want is we want to say v. Let's go with number and the SSRS year num. Okay, let's do save. Okay, so we've got a month number and that there, not year number, start month and num. Apologies, let's say the name. Save. And then what that allows you to do is I create a column. So I can drag that in there, and it's saying 11th, all that. We could then put in here, and if it'll let me do this, is do that and do. I'm hoping it will do this, but probably not. You have to play around. No, so it won't let you do that. So the other way around this is to do a concatenate within a concatenate. So concat, and we'll just basically put that there. There you go. And what we can see is if we choose October, there you go. So there wasn't any. What it also does as well, Power BI, you can change this. But effectively, basically, if it can't find a match, if we go to 2005, so that's interesting because it should select. There you go, it does do it. You have to hold control and select as opposed to just click one item. So we can see there, we can see that we've got a visual of a table. You can tidy all this up, and that is a simple report. So what we're going to do, just going to put the charts in here. Let's have a simple pie chart. Let's do a sample pie chart. We'll put a couple of charts in here. Now, legend, let's say console. There you go. And by JP Sales. So we can see here that percentage of sales mostly were what we got there. So, and also what it does, which is a good thing, you can build clear filters in as well, so don't worry about that. I can cover that in another video. So that is a very simple dashboard. It's not anything too fancy, but all it is, what the good thing about this is you can clone off your charts to see if it'll do that. Just want to bring it over to there. Do that. We just want to say that we're interested in a comparison, not of that, but some of the PAL sales. There you go. So you can see all the differences there, and it does the chart. And if I untick the year, the whole lot comes to view. But let's go back to there. There you go. So you can see that's coming across there. We can see we've got these games up here, but then if I, and again, you can add anything you want to. So if you want to do a, let's add a slicer in, but we're not going to use Yenum. No, Control Z. I forgot about that, so just Control Z that. If you, what you can do within Power BI is if you want to change representation, you click an object, for example, a visual or a visual, and you can simply change its type. It sounds ridiculous, but you can do it. So let's add a new one in. This is the last one. So what I want to see is, let's go to there, and let's just say genre. I want to see all of those. So we should do, if we filter down on that as well, and 10th of October for 2005, that was all of our action games across. There's quite a few in that year. You can see we've got that. And this is a denormalize view because I've just added genre in from the source online table, but you would have our IDs and you build a star model up. So at the moment, ours is a sort of linked table, but you might bring genres in here separately and have the IDs there. And then it just basically creates a whole relation model. So let's save that. We're just going to save our reports. It's very basic. I'll recover more in future videos. So now let's go and upload it to our server. So let's do that. And let's go to Documents, Power BI Desktop. Click Open. And this is how you can publish from Power BI Desktop, but sometimes, and you can also Power Publish this way. So just remember this is what you've got as an option. And you will want to organize your reports in terms of folder structure, security. I may cover that in a future video. I've covered SQL security, but Power BI on a domain, you can configure all Active Directory security groups, etc. So what I'm going to do as well, I'm just going to close this down because sometimes, yeah, it locks the file. So there you go. So this is our very simple dashboard. So there you go. So this is going to load the data. It's going to load it up. There you go. So I can now say I'm interested in games in 2005, in 10th October, and they're educational. What games? So you can see Monkey Bar games. Title isn't in there, but you can add it in. So this has just been a very simple report, but the possibilities are endless, and you can have multi-tabs in your report down here. So don't think, oh, you got to do one, upload that. You can simply add multiple pages into an existing report. Well, this has been a short look into Power BI desktop, how to set a basic report up, and I'm hoping this gives you a start for something that is really useful. So thank you so much for watching.